All right. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Pacific Wash webinar. I believe this is the 20th in the series and the last for the year. And today we're talking about the topic of harnessing digital technologies to improve water utility performance. As we know, utilities across Asian Pacific are searching for solutions to the water crisis. Digital tools and platforms provide excellent opportunities to improve water security, build resilience, and enhance the effective management of water. My name is Carl Galling. I'm an urban development specialist under the Water and Urban Development Sector Group in ADB, and I'm pleased to facilitate our session today as we present emerging examples on innovation and digitalization in the region. Maybe we just go for a few housekeeping reminders. We would encourage you to please identify yourself in your profile by listing your name and organization's name and or project that you belong to. We would also encourage you to please turn off your microphones when not speaking. And please raise your hand if you wish to be acknowledged, if you wish to speak. We have a chat box that Sinead will help me manage. You could put your comments or remarks or questions, and we'll deal with that when we engage you actively in the question and answer portion of the webinar at the end of the session. Just to go through quickly our schedule for today, just a quick rundown of this program in the next hour or so. So shortly, we will be hearing opening remarks from distinguished guests from both co-organizations of PWWA and ADB, after which we will be listening to the two presentations from our invited resource speakers. Then for the last 20 or 30 minutes, I will be accommodating questions, comments, and remarks and facilitate the discussion around the topics that will be presented by our resource persons. All right, so just to give you a quick introduction of our guests who would be giving some remarks. I'll start with Ms. Ileti Masoe Satwala. She is the Development Coordinator for the Pacific Water and Wastewater Association, and she will be sharing some remarks from PWWA side. Over to you, Ms. Ileti.
Thank you, Carl, and welcome everyone. Talofa from Samoa. Welcome to our final online event for 2023, Harnessing Digital Technologies to Improve Water Utilities Performance. Through this series of webinars, we have observed your great support with a lot of energy and enthusiasm to share our thoughts, views, and experiences. We're all here today because water and wastewater is something we're passionate about. And I know during this session, we will conclude this series for 2023 with full of fascinating conversations, lifelong connections, and tons of inspiration. The digital reform is having a major impact on the water and wastewater sector. And collectively as a region, we recognize the need to come up with innovative solutions to ensure our utilities and our people are not left behind. One of the focus areas for Pacific Water and Wastewater Association under its current strategic plan is agility. And I feel our utilities are adapting and transforming in the digital water and wastewater space. Yes, there are challenges in terms of affordability, sustainability, but we can face them and learn from them together. I encourage you to make the most of today's session, make the most of this platform as well to engage with other Pacific utilities that are joining today, our experts, our suppliers, our donors, and we can continue to build our capacity and capabilities to become agile, and most importantly, at the end of the day, continue to supply good quality water to our customers. We appreciate you all joining, and we hope you all enjoy today's session. Paftai Ka.
Thank you so much, Mr. Letty. Now I will be introducing the Deputy Director General of the Pacific Department here at ADB. He is concurrently the Country Director for our North Pacific countries, covering FSM Palau and RMI. So let's please all welcome Hideaki Iwasaki.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you, Ms. Letty. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the last Pacific WASH webinar for 2023. We once again have the pleasure of co-hosting today's event with our partners, the Pacific Water and Wastewater Association. And I would like to acknowledge colleagues from the PWA, utilities and government agencies across the Pacific, along with our development partners and colleagues from the ADB. Again, I thank you for joining us today for a discussion on a very interesting topic, how we can harness digital technology to improve planning and performance of our services delivered by the water and wastewater utilities. A lot has been talked about in this area, so I'm not going to repeat the benefits or potential of the use of digital technology. But one thing Ms. Letty just mentioned, the need to be agile. With my visit to some of the countries, I managed to visit 4 of the 14 Pacific countries. And now I realize that it's very important for us to be agile, to be able to extend our services and also improve the quality of the services. So I'm very much interested in this topic today. And also I'm very happy that I'm joining the last of this interesting series of webinar. Today we will be hearing case studies from Indonesia and the Republic of the Marshall Islands on how digital technology is being used to support planning and operations. And from Indonesia, we'll be hearing how the digital technology is supporting disaster recovery planning and helping water utilities to build back better. And in the case of Marshall Islands, real-time remote monitoring, which underpins the operations of the EBI's desalination plant. This is what we are going to hear. And as I just mentioned, accelerating the adoption of appropriate digital technologies and innovations to be agile for all of us to meet the requirements of our customers and the people broadly in our DMCs. That's an important target, and digital technologies are an important tool to promote and achieve safe and affordable drinking water for all by 2030, which is our common target. So again, thank you for joining us today, and best wishes for an engaging discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luigi. Today, now I think that sets the tone for our discussion and presentation. Let me quickly introduce our resource speakers for this session. I'll start with Anastasia Carolina, whom we popularly call Ibu Olin. Ibu Olin is the Senior Project Officer for Urban Development at the Asian Development Bank Indonesia Resident Mission since September 2019. She works closely with the Ministry of Public Works and Housing and leads the implementation of the ongoing projects as well as technical assistance in the urban sector area. In addition, since 2020, she's also working in the health sector by leading the implementation of Asia Pacific Disaster Response Fund, or APDRF, which she will be presenting to us shortly, which has provided $3 million grant during the COVID-19 pandemic. as a response. And she's also supporting a TA on Strategic Delivery Unit for the Ministry of Health. She holds a bachelor degree in architecture and has a master's degree in urban design. Ibu Olin, prior to joining ADB, had experience as an architect and worked as civil servant of the Ministry of Public Works and Housing for 11 years, managing slum upgrading project in various cities in Indonesia. So without further ado, we give the mic to you, Ibu Olin. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carl, and good morning, everyone. So please allow me to present a few slides about the digital technology in the water supply sector with a lesson learned from Indonesia. Yeah. Okay, probably I will start with a glimpse of Indonesia. So probably some of you already visited Indonesia, but probably some of you have not visited Indonesia. So this is the maps of Indonesia. Geographically, Indonesia is located in the Southeast Asia. And as we can see on the map, Indonesia has lots of islands. So the country consists of more than 17,000 islands. And the population is 275.8 million in 2022. And the population growth rate is 1.17%. And then the environmental quality index is quite good. And also for the investment sector, Indonesia is very popular for the investors. So there are lots of development in Indonesia. Like, for example, we are moving the capital from Jakarta, the current capital, to Nusantara. So probably this is one of the biggest project in the Southeast Asia. So it's a very massive development in Indonesia, and I think it's going to attract more investors to come to Indonesia. And then in terms of the urban challenges, so like any other countries, Indonesia is facing urbanization challenges. As we can see in the picture, there's lots of massive traffic jam every day in Indonesia, especially in the big cities like Jakarta, the current capital, and other big cities in Indonesia. So this is a daily routine that we have, probably similar like in Manila. And then with the higher population in Indonesia, it means higher demand in the water supply and sanitation system in form of the pipe networks and the treatment plants. So in form of a system. So it's like a water system, wastewater system. And the absence of the system, people will start to use the groundwater. And then the high groundwater pollution and polluted groundwater, it will increase the environmental and community health risk. That's why water is a national priority for the government. So the government has a 5 years midterm development plan for the country. For this current period is 2020 to 2024. And as we can see on the slide, water is one of the national priorities because the government would like to ensure that 100% of the community in the country will have access to adequate water. However, the achievement is slightly under 100%. So in the next period of the midterm development plan, which is 2025 to 2029, water will still become one of the national priorities for the government. And this is about the ADB support for the water supply in Indonesia. Currently, we only have one loan investment project in Indonesia. We call it the Emergency Assistance for Rehabilitation and Reconstruction, or we call it EARR. The project aims to support the post-construction phase in Palu City, which was affected by the tsunami in September 2018. So the core concept of the project is to build back better and also to develop a source to tap water supply system, which I will present in the next slide. On the map, we can see that Palu is located here. So in 2018, there was a tsunami and earthquake, and it created lots of massive damages in the city. And ADB is now working with the government to ensure that we construct an appropriate water supply system post-disaster. And in addition to the water supply system, ADB is also supporting sanitation development in the country. As we can see that the pipeline in sanitation is growing, so we have completed the projects in 2 locations here, the green pinpoint, and then we have 3 ongoing sanitation projects, and we are going to have 3 more upcoming future projects in Indonesia, which hopefully will be implemented start from 2024. So we have both sanitation and water supply projects in the country, even though the water supply project is now just one project, one ongoing project. But hopefully in the future, the pipeline will grow. Okay. And this is the background of what happened back in 2018. So there was a tsunami, and the disaster caused a landslide, soil liquefaction that affected more than 1.4 million people in the area, in the city of Palu. So this is what happened in the city of Palu in 2018. And according to the government estimates, the economic cost of the disaster reached 1.7 billion due to extensive damages in housing, water supply system, irrigation system, road networks, bridges, and also port infrastructure. So our project, the ADB Finance Emergency Project, built, among others, the entire water supply chain, starting from the treatment of the raw water sources all the way up to the household. So from upstream to downstream. From the upstream, we can see that we are financing the construction of the embankment, the raw water transmission system, and irrigation system. On the downstream part, we are constructing the water treatment and distribution, as well as the housing connection. So it's really a holistic approach to ensure that water is available for the community in the city. And in terms of the water management, as we understand that there are four strong pillars under the water management, which are the planning, developing, distributing, and managing. In our context, in the project context, since the project is still ongoing, so the use of digital technology is limited on the planning and developing, not so much on the distributing and the managing. Once the project is completed, of course, the project will be equipped with the automation SCADA system, but not so much on the smart water management like the smart water meter, etc. So Indonesia is not there yet, but the use of the SCADA system for the distribution of the water supply, yes, we will ensure that it is going to be featured under the project. So for now, under the project context, ADB is working together, jointly implemented the reconstruction monitoring using the satellite data with the Asian Institute of Technology from Thailand, and then also with the Remote Sensing Technology Center, RASTEC from Japan. And the activity was funded by the Japan Fund for Poverty Reduction, or we call it JFPR. So there are three outputs under the project. Under the activity. The first one is to provide information on the critical infrastructure, reconstruction building, ground movement, and other information needed to support reconstruction planning and monitoring after the 2018 earthquake and tsunami. The second one is to develop a geospatial portal, we call it GeoPortal, to support the reconstruction effort. And the third one is, of course, to enhance the capacity of the client, the government of Indonesia, through transfer of knowledge to ensure that they can use this data set as well as the GeoPortal to support their reconstruction effort in the city. And this is what we have done in the planning stage. So we use various data using various methodology to ensure that we monitor the land movement, the displacement of the buildings and infrastructure affected by the earthquake and the tsunami. And also we ensure that the planning was based on damage assessment and reconstruction monitoring using the VHR satellite data, very high resolution satellite data. This is what we've done during the planning process to ensure that we capture the actual condition post-disaster appropriately and prepare the planning design based on the actual data collected from the site. And then for the monitoring, we have a geospatial monitoring and evaluation platform. We call it GeoPortal. This is the web page. So the GeoPortal was developed to support Indonesian information system. We call it SITABA, Indonesian Sistem Informasi Tangga Bencana, or SITABA, or in English is National Disaster Response Information System. So the GeoPortal provides a satellite-based information generated from SAR, synthetic aperture radar data, as well as optical data for regular monitoring of land movement and reconstruction of buildings and infrastructure in the affected area. So this is what we have created to support the government. And these are the features included under the GeoPortal. So the first one, of course, we have the baseline data using the satellite data, optical and SAR. And then we have reconstruction monitoring feature. We have satellite data. We have hazard which will provide information such as disaster zonation area, geological structure, and other relevant hazard information collected from different agencies in Indonesia, such as Lapan, and then BMKG and other Indonesian entities. And then, of course, one of the features in the geoportal is rehabilitation and reconstruction activities itself, which will provide information from Sitaba platform, Indonesian information system platforms such as resettlement, irrigation canal, transformation, infrastructure, etc. So the user can visualize and combine them with other layers to monitor the displacement of ground and building stability. So this is what the geoportal has under its features. And the data and information available in the geoportal is actually not from scratch. So we are working together with lots of entities such as the Ministry of Public Works and Housing. The ministry is the executing agency for the project, and the ministry provides data sets on rehabilitation and reconstruction activities in Palu City, such as activities on the housing and resettlement, activities on the irrigation, and other sets of data. And then the second entity is the Asian Institute of Technology, as I already mentioned. The AIT is the project consultant, the one who created and managed the geoportal. And we have European Space Agency. So the ESA supported us to capture the before and after earthquake situation with a very accurate data for which the accuracy is to a few millimeter. And the data set is basically being used as the basis for follow-up works on the monitoring carried out by AIT through the geoportal. And then we also have Indonesian entity we call Lapan, Lembaga Penerbangan dan Antariksa National Institute of Aeronautics and Space, which provides VHR satellite data using the One Data Policy License 2, the Ministry of Public Works and Housing as the executing agency of the project. And lastly, we also work together with BIC, Badan Informasi Geospasial or Geospatial Information System, Indonesian entity, which provides base maps such as admin unit, transportation, building and utilities, irrigation and vegetation, and topography maps. So we are all working together to ensure that the platform can capture the real data and the platform can be used to monitor the ongoing activities going forward and during the lifetime period of the project. The project itself will be closed by September 2024, and to date, the geoportal has been used by the government staff under the coordination with the Asian Institute of Technology. So these all are the use of technology, digital technology in our project. Again, not so much on the distribution and management because the project is still ongoing, but going forward, we do hope that the projects, the water supply projects in Indonesia will adopt more smart water management, such as the use of water meter and other measures. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ibu Olin. That was a very interesting presentation. Hopefully in the coming sessions, we would be able also to invite you or another resource person from Indonesia to talk about the Nusantara new capital city. We had a glimpse of that the other week where the presentation was shown on how high-tech that new capital will be. Imagine public utility vehicles that are fully autonomous without routes. And the routes would be based on what's on the passengers who would be putting in where the destinations on their mobile phones. So that will be an interesting discussion for some other time. But yeah, I think this is a very interesting presentation you gave, Olin, in terms of the archipelagic nature of Indonesia and how government would respond to disasters and how quick they could provide response. And I think this is where digital technologies would play a great role in helping that response to be quicker and also cheaper, but also building back better, as you mentioned. So we'll get back to you later. Ibu Olin, please hang on. We'll just proceed to the next presenter, Aaron Condon, who will be presenting on digitalization of water in the Pacific. Aaron is a water treatment specialist for Osmoflow, with over 10 years experience across Asian Pacific on the water treatment industry. He has supported clients in projects with the beverage industry and resource sector through projects for community drinking water supply. Aaron has experience with both biological and mechanical processes of water treatment. So it's going to be an interesting discussion for those of you looking into technologies on water treatment. And Aaron, by the way, is a qualified plumber, wastewater technician and mechanical filter with extensive experience managing water, wastewater treatment plants, and desalination plants. As I hand over to you, Aaron, kindly give us a perspective of where you're sitting at the moment. I think if you could show us that wonderful view to your right before you do your presentation.
Not a problem, Carl. Thank you for the kind introduction. Yes, I'm currently on site at the moment in the beautiful RMI on the eBay. So we've been lucky enough to get some of our local plant operators here and technicians to join us in the meeting with us today. Thank you. So the water treatment industry is undergoing a transformative shift known as digitization, reshaping efficiency, sustainability, and innovation. Particularly noticeable in remote areas with operational challenges and limited budgets, overcoming issues like delayed maintenance and troubleshooting complexities. So what are the benefits of digitization? Real-time monitoring is one of them. Data analytics and insight, remote control and automation, and energy efficiency, making sure that what we're doing is sustainable. So as water demand intensifies, the challenges that we're presented with and accessibility and quality and distribution in these remote areas are becoming increasingly intricate. Recognizing water not only as a source of life, but also as a cornerstone of social progress. In response to these challenges, Osmoflow is turning to the power of digitization, utilizing the following technologies. We're using the internet, obviously, to communicate, to bring us data. We're using AI technology for prediction, pattern recognition, to assist in recognizing and optimizing plants so that we can ensure that we have the most sustainable methods in place to ensure our equipment, we get the most out of it. Cloud computing, facilitating remote access to information and collaborating among all stakeholders. One of the examples of this is our OsmoView app. So we're able to provide an app on a phone that all stakeholders can hold and review the plant at live times throughout the day and night, 24/7. And we also undertake automated operation. This is utilizing sensors, algorithms to schedule and perform cleaning cycles remotely and undertake fault finding remotely as well. So we'll talk about Ebi Island specifically today. So Ebi is situated in the Republic of the Marshall Islands. Ebi stands as one of the most isolated locations on Earth. Spanning just 80 acres, this island hosts a population of approximately 15,000, many of whom are generational refugees from the nearby nuclear testing conducted at Bikini Atoll and from the aftermath of the Second World War. So some of the challenges that we faced were real-time data. The digitization enables the gathering of real-time data from sensors and smart devices, understanding that data, and providing water security for the island of Ebi, and providing the people of Ebi with future assurances so that generations to come don't need to be concerned about tomorrow's drinking water. So the challenge. In 2016, Osmoflow faced a significant challenge, delivering water security to the island of Ebi that surpassed conventional water plant model. Remarkably, the plant has maintained an unprecedented 95% availability, a milestone previously unheard of in the region. Given the remote nature of the site, achieving operational reliability demanded a unique approach. Osmoflow crafted a sustainable model that leveraged its 24/7 manned control centre in Adelaide, South Australia. This model enabled real-time monitoring by the local team, who not only managed operations, but also provided stakeholders with instantaneous plant updates through the OsmoView app. This pioneering approach shattered the traditional practice of having Osmoflow technicians on site full-time. Instead, we brought digitization to the Pacific for the first time, showcasing the power of a remote-controlled, real-time monitored water treatment facility. So how effective can a control center be when it's thousands of kilometers away from monitoring a plant? In response to this challenge, Osmoflow's project engineering team embarked on developing cutting-edge, fully digitized desalination plant, monitoring an extensive array of parameters, from pressures and flows to disinfection systems and chemical dosing. This all takes place in Adelaide, Australia. Whilst digitised plants can efficiently signal the need for a cartridge filter change, the human touch remains invaluable. Nothing can replace a local night shift operator in eBuy expressing uncertainty, or the control centre guiding that team member through a live stream cartridge filter change. This is the human sides of digitisation. Adds a layer of expertise and collaboration. The supply of 24/7 support emerges as a key tool ensuring the project's success. Operations are run with the vision of having eBuy lead and Osmoflow assist, creating a harmonious synergy between digital efficiency and local expertise. So in recent years, the global push towards digitization has been accentuated by the challenges posed by COVID-19. The Pacific nations were among the worst affected globally. While isolation was not unfamiliar due to their remote nature, border closures posed a challenge for Osmoflow, preventing hands-on training and in-plant maintenance at eBuy throughout the pandemic. During the pandemic, I woke up one Sunday morning to a stream of messages and visuals exchanged between the control center and the eBuy plant, P&IG drawings and photographs of a pressure transmitter. What truly sold me on the value of digitizations were the last few messages between the control center and the eBuy shift operator. Plant's back online, and great work eBuy, we'll send you out a replacement critical spare pressure transmitter. It's nice to wake up to problem solved. This is digitization of water at work. By embracing digitization, we strengthened our response to the environmental challenges. So in front of me here, I've got some examples of some trend data. So on the left, you'll see on the 30th of April, you can note a shutdown there. So this is a trend of our permeate flows. So this is part of the information of our SCADA system, our trend data. So this allows us to go back historically and review events to determine what happened, how we can action if anything needs to be actioned. So if I zoomed in on the right there and taking a closer look at that specific shutdown event, the plant was offline for a period of 9 minutes. So during that 9 minutes, I dare say we would have had a routine shutdown to change over generators, or for a filter change, or simply because the tank ran full. So there are many benefits to this trend data. I'll have a look at the next slide here, and is another example. So in this example, we're looking at a product quality of our water. So being a desalination plant, conductivity is key to ensuring we're removing the salt from the water to ensure a safe drinking water supply. So I'm looking over there at the month of May, and I can see a spike there in our trend. If I zoom in on that spike on the right, I can see that this is a normal expected spike in conductivity when a plant starts up. So when a reverse osmosis plant starts up, the pressure builds to overcome the osmotic pressure, and the permeate will be out of spec for a short period of time, and then will come down in spec and then is diverted to treated water. So I can see here that that spike was there for 3 minutes that we on startup. And I can see there's no issue with that at all. And that's a routine startup of the plant. So there's nothing to be concerned about at all. These are some examples of the technology that we have that we're utilizing at Osmoflow. I also wanted to briefly speak about future challenges. So building on the triumph of eBuy, Osmoflow extended its expertise to the South Tarawa Water Supply Project. This endeavour aims to deliver essential water supply infrastructure, addressing the vital needs and enhancing the health and well-being of approximately 56,000 residents in South Tarawa, Kiribati, with provisions for anticipated population growth. Through the implementation of 2 fully digitised desalination plants, this project offers a robust water security solution. The 24/7 remote control centre, integrated with local operators, exemplifies a collaborative approach for sustainable and efficient water management. Thank you very much for your time today, everybody, and Carl, and very much looking forward to some questions.
Thank you so much, Aaron. It's quite interesting. We'll touch on a few specific items that you presented later, but for now, let's open the floor for questions. I'll quickly check on the chat box. Let me see. Do you see any specific questions, Sinead? But maybe we'll just ask the participants to raise their hand directly for any questions.
No specific questions on the chat yet. Everyone's a little shy today by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Might be worth introducing your team members, Aaron and Kaja, and then we can open up. Perhaps there's some questions for them too.
Absolutely. So I've brought with me today Sam. Sam is the electrical lead on the island of eBuy, looks after the water and power, electrically wise. Also have Julian with me. Julian is the water and sanitisation manager for the island of eBuy. So I guess we have a unique situation where we have the supplier of the desalination and water plant and the end users all in the same room, able to answer questions today.
Sure. So we'll invite both Sam and Julian perhaps to share their experiences later, but we'll just try to collect some questions from our audience. We might be calling your name if you won't be.
I'm happy to start a question, Carl.
Please, Bronwyn.
Yeah, thanks so much to both of you for those really detailed and interesting presentations. Quite different situations and contexts, but fascinating how, I guess, the digital information technology has been able to help the management, assessment of the needs and the management of the water systems. I'm wondering on the, excuse me, on the eBuy context, if you might be able to explain a bit more, and maybe colleagues from CAJA as well, how you've built the capacity. Like, did you do a lot of training courses, or did anyone come across to visit other desal plants? Did you do it all there? Like, how did you build up the capacity of the staff to manage everything and ensure that could continue with remote support?
Absolutely. So hands-on training is a very key part of what we do when we deliver plants in the Pacific. There's definitely a big push with digitization for that training with regards to communication, having really clear open lines of communication between our Australian Control Centre technicians, our Brisbane-based international technicians, and the technicians on eBuy, and including local operators. So we all collaborate collectively via the internet routinely, nearly on a daily basis sometimes. However, yes, we do send technicians out here. I think it's one of the things where digital, we'll run training courses and things like that. But the hands-on replacement for training is quite difficult. We do make sure we get out here and we rebuild these pumps together and we work on the trains together to ensure their efficiency. And that's a big part of what Osmoflow does. And I think that's key to supplying water security, not just a water plant.
Thanks, Aaron. It's quite interesting in building that capacity, Aaron, and we know that the huge challenge with Cadger, which is the utility, is the quick turnover of technical staff, given for them to move out of the island to seek greener pastures, if you may. How do you keep? I wonder how you keep that core team within Cadger in terms of having a consistent training. I know that you do like quarterly visits to do on-site inspections and practical trainings for the staff, but in terms of continuity, how are you able to maintain that core team of technicians working and operating the system?
Yeah, it's certainly one of the challenges that we face, and it's quite a balancing act, because on one hand we have taken members of the eBuy community who could never dream of operating a water plant. We train them, we put them through their courses, empower them, and then we see them depart, usually across the atoll to the American base for more money. So on one side of the equation, we have this brilliant story of individuals who are able to earn for their families more than they ever dreamed they could, and it's wonderful to be a part of that. On the other side of the equation, we also have the security of information and the security of the staff, or staff retention at the site. So it is certainly a challenge. And we do this through standardized training. We bring over training packages. We found a lot of individual training, pulling one or two guys aside that are on shift and really bedding down and going through those daily operations with them. Also, we very much encourage the senior team members to take under their wing the newer technicians. So we want to really promote that family. We do a lot of team building events when the guys come over from Osmoflow, myself included, to try and include everyone. And it's great because the Osmoflow technicians get to embrace the Marshallese culture and the traditional Marshallese culture boys to get a few nice chocolates and things brought over from Australia. I think we're yet to bring out Vegemite over here, but I don't know how that will go down.
Thanks. Maybe just a follow-up question on the business model that Osmoflow is using. I know that you might be also selective of your clients, that not all utilities would be able to pay for similar services. So could you describe a bit the packages that you offer, especially in the Pacific where utilities are really struggling? I see the case with Cadger in eBuy. It's a very small atoll island, 10 to 15,000 people, but they really struggle and have limited potential source of water just through desalination. But how does that work? Sometimes technology is quite restrictive, right? And people tend to pick the cheaper ones rather than a gold standard. Would you consider your service as a gold standard service for utilities?
Absolutely. I think the product that we provide is extremely high quality and comes with a high level of support. What we find best with tailoring packages to individual utility providers within the Pacific, is it's best to get out there and talk to them, discuss what their needs are. A lot of the times we will tailor a bespoke plan that could encompass Osmoflow having a build, own, operate plant, whereby which the country would only pay for a literage rate. Or it could be on the other end of the spectrum, a simple, here is your water plant, and a simple, build and deliver. And everything else in between we're certainly capable of. We've definitely included a lot of things into the Pacific Island contracts based around training and sustainability. There are a lot of water plants out here that aren't working in the Pacific, and Osmoflow is committed to not being like that. We want to support our water plants, and we want to support the clients that we work with.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe before we move to Ibu Olin, I would just quickly invite Sam or Julian to, I saw in your slide earlier, Aaron, on like a testimonial or quotes from them, but maybe a quick word from either Sam or Julian to share about the challenges that they continue to struggle with, and if there are any support and digital technologies that they would want to have. This would be a good opportunity for them to speak up.
Yeah, so I'll throw the question to both Sam and Julian, who are now becoming a little bit camera shy, with regards to what sort of challenges they face with the water plant and with the information IT. What sort of challenges do you face, Sam, with regards to the water plant and?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is retaining our core staff, as Aaron has already mentioned. Once they're trained and they have gathered enough knowledge, and they tend to jump over to the places that give them more packages in their salary. But as mentioned as well, it gives chances for the younger lot to step in and take those places. They also fend for their families on their own. Apart from that, just the isolation of the place and getting things in, it takes a certain period of time, as in the procurement part of running the plant, which Osmoflow already takes care of, in the sense that they have the stock on shelf most times before, like the critical spares, we already have them in stock and always added to every now and again. Yeah, apart from those two, I think we've been pretty good with, there's not many challenges so far. The attention given to the plant by the control center is always on point 24/7. So anytime the boys on shift need some help from the Osmoflow control center team, they're always ready to go. And like he mentioned earlier on, it's nice to wake up and see a string of messages to and from the plant, and with job complete and plants online messages at the end is always a good thing to wake up to. That's about it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Indeed, that's something that we definitely see working at the moment, the 24/7 remote automated operation that's coupled with on-site visits and on-site inspection by staff. I see a hand raised by Miss Aleti, and then we'll get to Ricky on this question. Please, Miss Aleti.
Thank you, Carl. My question, thank you, Aaron and Anastasia, for those presentations. Very informative, and I think our utilities would have a lot to gauge from the presentations. Just a quick question to Aaron. How long is the transition period? When is Osmoflow all handing over to Kajol, or is that going to be a continuous relationship between Osmoflow and Kajol?
I think it can be looked at in sort of a segmented way. I think the trips out to the island by Osmoflow operators will slowly diminish, whereas I think the Osmoflow support network, or with regards to the control center, is something that has a lot of value ongoing, especially with new plant operators and teams. As we see plants reach, 10, 15-year half-lives and things like that, it's important that the maintenance schedules on them will step up. So it's important that we're there to assist with that, and that the control center is a big part of that. So I guess you could say there is a plan to slowly remove ourselves, but always be there to assist.
Thanks.
I'll just quickly move to a specific question from Tiriki Rangol. Can Osmoflow Digital offer advice on developing a digital operation system for an already built water treatment plant?
Absolutely. This is something we're seeing a lot of. We've recently undertaken quite a number of retrofits of our control center monitoring updates to existing water plants. So it is absolutely something we can come in. We're usually able to optimize those plants as well, increase performance, and provide a lot of data coming back to the client so that we can show the client peak demands or improvements. I think looking backwards over data will always tell you the best way moving forward. And I think that's some of the value in the control center.
Thanks. Now, let me go over to Ibu Olin. I think she presented one of the slides there showing the hierarchy of water governance. She was talking about digitalization, but on the upper tiers of that governance and planning and developing. And I think a good combination here is what Aaron presented on the distribution and managing of water. So if we move up to that
tier of planning and developing and relating that to the question of Ida-san on operations and monitoring purposes, I think the question is really the challenge of sustaining the need for regular real-time data collection and updating. Is that something that you could comment on, Ibu Olin?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I already replied back in the text box. So the main challenge is always the coordination, because this project involves various government stakeholders and entity. So under the Ministry of Public Works and Housing, we involve 2 director generals. So it's quite a complex project in terms of the organizational structure. But luckily, we have a very strong central project management unit under the ministry to ensure that there is a smooth coordination and communication between various stakeholders. So having a strong CPMU is the key to ensure that we address the coordination challenges. Thank you.
Can I just come in to
please.
Ask a follow-up question? I understand that in Indonesia, the governance structure is quite decentralized. And you're talking about very high level of involvement by the central ministry. Is it because this project is for disaster recovery, or is it normal practice now?
Yeah, actually, in Indonesia, for all the loan project, the borrower is always the borrower, and the executing agency is always the central government. So the central government, they will establish the CPMU, and the CPMU is the one who will build the communication coordination with the city government.
Okay, so
that's what we do in Indonesia.
So if the project involves external financing, this kind of strong central PMU may be established.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So aside from sustaining that, coordination and oversight role of central government. I wanted to ask Ibu Olin on something that PDG and Ms. Aletti mentioned earlier on agility, right? On being agile, being capable of responding quickly on disasters and building back better. And I think the key word there is together, which Ms. Aletti mentioned. You need to deliver and adopt new technologies together in a way, as you mentioned, coordination. How could you describe to us how that is working, given that you've mentioned about a number of partner agencies supporting the program? How is that happening? What's the vision of working effectively together?
Well, yeah. So usually, the project, they have a regular meeting involving various stakeholders, right? So in the coordination meeting, we discuss about the project progress, issues, and other important matters on site and recommendation, as well as to ensure that the data is being provided in the timely manner to be able to be managed by the AIT as the manager of the Geo portal. So again, coordination is the issue, and then how they address the issue is to ensure that they have a regular communication through regular meeting. Usually it's a monthly meeting, but sometimes we also have a bi-weekly meeting with them. Yeah.
Related to the adoption of technologies as we speak of central project management unit, how often is that PMU to trying out new technologies, like especially the cheaper ones? We know that established technologies are in the market and they could easily be adopted, but in terms of those that are in the, I would say, research and development phase, is that something that government is considering or promoting as well?
Yeah, but we are in a early discussion about that one. So as I mentioned to you, that the smart water management is not yet being implemented by the government. It's still being discussed. For now, the main purpose is to ensure the provision of the water supply to the community in the affected area of the city of Palu. So in the planning and monitoring, I already explained in my presentation the use of the digital tools. But in terms of the distribution, it's limited only on the SCADA, the automation system, but not so much on any other more advanced technology. So not yet there. But we do hope that in the future, we are going to have future projects for the water supply in Indonesia. So we're hoping that we can have more innovative solutions on the use of the technology in the water supply, the new upcoming future water supply projects in Indonesia. So for now, it's limited only on the SCADA for the distribution and managing.
Yeah, indeed. We'll be looking forward to that. Probably invite you again for another session to talk on distribution and management phase of the project. Just quickly checking on the chat box. I think this question by Sylvia goes back to Aaron on if you could highlight challenges faced by Osmoflow and digital remote monitoring. I think you've already mentioned some, but would you like to maybe underscore a few more, Aaron, in terms of your operation virtual remote sensing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess some of the challenges that we face is obviously the communication between the water plants and our office in Adelaide. I'm sure we're all aware that these islands are very remote. Some of the things we're implementing, we're keeping up with the technology and implementing Starlink at some of our plants. So the Starlink internet connections can be used anywhere, is cost effective, and allows us to real-time monitor. This has been implemented on our South Tarawa project, as well as we just mentioning too, you spoke earlier about agility, and I wanted to mention the achievements made by MFAT and the PUB team on Kiribati. around being able to mobilise emergency desalination plants very quickly to the islands and restore water to South Tarawa. They were in quite a dire state, unfortunately, due to drought. And I think having a rentals fleet at Osmoflow that can be dispatched, at a moment's notice, and even flown to site if need be to assist is a huge advantage and does provide a lot of security for the Pacific.
Well, thanks. We could talk more about Kiribati some other time, probably, and we'll be looking forward to as you start implementation of the project over there, operating in the system. Let me have a quick check-in with Sinead if we still have time to accommodate one or two more questions before we wrap up. Is that fine?
Yeah, if anyone has any last questions, and then we can wrap up. If everyone could stay on, we have a poll and get a group photo at the end. So if you can hang around for a couple more minutes, that would be very much appreciated.
Questions? Anyway, this session is recorded.
For those of you just not quite familiar with the Pacific Wash webinars, we have a website run by Dev Asia, and we provide you a link that you could go back and review this session. To respond to Tariki, we will provide you contact information of Aaron and our Osmoflow colleagues for you to directly coordinate with them. So probably we can, before we go and close, I'll be asking Sinead to launch a poll. And this is mainly to get feedback on our session today and help us design better the sessions in the future. And we do assure you that we will be organizing and designing more sessions related to innovation and digital technology in the future based on the feedback that we will be receiving.
And if you do scroll down, there is a third question that you might not be able to see quite easily. It's kind of hidden down the bottom, and that's just for feedback on potential topics for next year. So if you wouldn't mind dropping in the topics that you might like to see for the webinars next year, that would be very much appreciated too.
We would encourage everyone connected to please do answer the poll quickly. This will give us information, as Sinead mentioned, on preparing interesting topics for you for future webinars. So this will be the last for webinar for this year. Sinead may have an idea on what to expect in the first quarter of 2024, but might be too early for now. But surely we'll provide you more information on that later.
Yes, yeah. Not locked in yet, but very, very shortly. So we will send an email out before the end of the year with some more information. And we are in talks to mix things up a little bit for next year for the webinars. So a few different format styles, maybe some in conversations with key people. Yeah, keep an eye out. Next year should be really great for webinars as well.
Right. And thanks, Bonwin, for putting in the chat box the link to our past webinars in the final series. I think we're on the 20th session of this series of webinars. So do encourage everyone to kind of check that out after the session. And lastly,
we would like to thank all the presenters and you for participating and joining us today for this session. If I could ask everyone to please turn on your videos for our group photo before we end.
Just let me stop sharing. There we go. Should be able to see everyone there.
Today to take the photo of the group.
Sorry, bear with me a second. I'm toggling multiple screens here. Okay, that should be everyone. I think Lass is here too, so hopefully she can grab a photo as well. I think we've got a few people who might be camera shy, which is fine if you don't want to turn your cameras on. But if you do and you just need another minute, we would love to see your smiling faces. Awesome. I think we're good to go. Thanks, everybody. Great. You're on mute, Carl.
I was just thanking everyone and greeting an advanced Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Yeah.
See you all next year.
Thank you so much.